Hi folks, welcome to Coffee and Revelation. We're at chapter 18 and we're going through this great book, just looking at what God has to say to us in our context, in our culture today. It's funny, people who want to criticize the Bible, it's funny that they accuse us of being fundamentalists, and then they come and they just demand chapter and verse for particular things. So Mike Carlton, who's a journalist here, had asked if anyone could come up with something that Jesus said about abortion or homosexuality. And I said I would respond to it, and I have responded to it. Put the article up, you can see it. But it's interesting, the reaction to that. And I think it's the same with this, that there's a detail in here that when you look at the actual text, it's quite profound. So what we've got in Revelation 18 so far is the fall over Babylon. And Babylon is Rome. Babylon is the great commerce of this world, the politicians, and we saw this, the kings, the politicians, and then the merchants. And here in 18 verse 17, in 1 hour such great wealth has been brought to ruin. Every sea captain and all who travel by ship, the sailors and all who earn their living from the sea will stand far off. When they see the smoke of her burning, they will exclaim, was there ever such a city like this great city? They will throw dust on their heads and with weeping and mourning cry out, woe, woe to you, great city, where all who had ships on the sea became rich through her wealth. In 1 hour she's been brought to ruin. Now it's interesting that the commerce, the method of commerce then, and some people think this can't be about Rome because Rome didn't have a port, but yes it did. It had a big river and ports on either side. Travel by sea, and particularly commerce by sea, has been the main means of trade for most of the world, and it still is today. We know with Ukraine, for example, that the stopping of the grain ships from Ukraine and Russia has done so much harm to the world. So here is Babylon, and those who make their living from her, they are just appalled. These were all the various kinds of maritime merchants. The focus is here on the wealthy maritime merchants. All who, having ships in the sea, became rich. It's probably talking of the ship owners. The ship owners, they are devastated when they see the source of their profit being taken away. They throw dust on their heads, not because they're really repentant, but just because they're sorry to see their own demise. It's as though you were a hedge fund manager now, or you had a lot of money invested, let's say you have a lot of money invested in, I don't know, wind turbines or green energy right now, and that gets taken away from you. You had money invested in coal or oil or whatever the particular product is. And again, as in this passage, it's linking it to Ezekiel chapter 27, because in the time of Ezekiel, it was the port of Tyre, which was the great merchant, the great seaport. And Ezekiel 27 talks about its demise. Now the point about all of this here is if the merchants have nothing to trade, nothing to sell, because Babylon has fallen, then all their wealth disappears. They're all going to be out of a job as well. All the captains, the sea merchants, the sailors, all who are on the sea as a profession. I think being a sailor has always been a great profession. My father-in-law was a sailor for a while. Many who grew up in the Scottish Islands ended up being sailors. Highlands and Islands ended up being sailors. But here, the travel is seen as something that was just entirely caught up with commerce and with Babylon. So this is the idol of the economy, if you like, economic idolatry, which has been completely overthrown. And I think all I'll simply say about that is this. We have I live in this city, Sydney, which is fabulously wealthy in many ways. And it could all go in an hour, as said here. It could all go at least very, very, very quickly. The wealth could disappear. And what does that say to all of us? I think it tells us that we've not to put our trust in riches, which can so easily disappear. They're to be used as tools. That our trade and commerce, most of all, has to be with the Lord. And of course we trade. Of course it's the right thing to do. How do we get our food and the books that you see behind me and the clothes that we wear and everything else? Trade and commerce is part of being human. But it's not the ultimate aim and it's not the ultimate goal. It's for a purpose. And the purpose is that we may know and serve God. So, good to see you. We will hopefully see you tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get outside again with all the rain having stopped. But let's just remember that we're to seek our riches in the Lord and not in the things of this world. God bless you and bye.